Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 1 of my new series, What If Naruto Was the Otsutsuki King? If you guys enjoy this series and want to see part 2 of it, comment down below and tell me, and I'm aiming for 400 likes. Yeah guys, get this one past 400 likes. That's to tell me that you guys enjoy this and you want to see part 2 guys. So yeah, get this one to 400 likes. And also, go ahead and check out the new episode of What If Naruto Was Sent to the Marvel World and enjoy that guys. And over on Anime King 2, I post a new episode of What If Naruto is a Smart Prodigy. So go ahead and enjoy that as well guys. And later on, I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto is a God Amongst Man. So stay in tune for that, and I do hope that you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And yeah, without further ado, let's begin this new episode. Start the intro.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their
We start this episode before the Sage of Six Path time, as the world was mostly full of samurais and bandits and thieves. No chakras on the earth. A woman named Kamura, as she lived by herself nearby the forest. She was in her early 50s, as Kamura was currently sitting outside, as she was just watching the sky, when she saw a beautiful star. As she smiled seeing the star, she then got up as she noticed the star was getting brighter and brighter, as Kamura rushed out to see the star landed in the forest behind her house. As Kamura let her curiosity got the better of her, as she rushed out there to see what was going on. As she rushed past the woods, as the broken trees creaking under her feet. When she finally arrived, she saw a crater, as she stood there in shock watching, as she saw a weird woman with long white hair and pale eyes. The woman had a strange cube in her arm. The woman looked very fatigued and tired. As the woman looked around until she fell over and collapsed unconscious. Kamura walked closer as she noticed the cube. It was a baby? Inside of the cube, it was a baby. He seemed to be like he was frozen. As Kamura moved towards the woman was really unconscious, out cold. Minutes later, Kamura had brought the woman to her house. The woman was lying on her bed. As Kamura wondered when she would wake up. The strange cube, it was heavy, as it took a while for her to bring it here. It seemed like it was holding something inside, something different, other than the baby, something magical, as she saw sparks of white light inside, just dancing around sometime. The baby seemed to be unconscious as well. He hasn't even seemed like he's breathing. As Kamura got a wet cloth as she was wiping the woman's forehead, she reached down. The woman's eyes shot open as she grabbed Kamura's hand. As Kamura stood there in shock as the woman held onto her wrist rather tight. Kamura winced in pain, until the woman noticed what she was doing as she released Kamura's hand. Kamura then fell back as she released a breath. The woman then got up as she looked around where she was. Seeming to be confused, Kamura spoke. "I brought you into my house." The woman turned towards her. "I found you in the middle of the forest. You went unconscious with that thing," she said. The woman rushed over at the cube when she saw it. Seeing the cube, she released a sigh of relief, as she smiled. "Who are you?" Kamura asked. As the woman turned towards her. "My name is Kaguya. Who are you?" "I am Kamura. As I said, I brought you in here. What happened?" But Kaguya didn't answer. She turned back to the cube to see it crack, as a dreadful look came on her face. What is going on? As Kamura noticed, a white aura started to leak from the cube. Kaguya then extended her hand as it glowed a faint white light as she placed on the crack. The cube then fixed back. "What was that?" asked Kamura, as Kaguya took up the cube and exited outside. "Kaguya, wait," said Kamura. But Kaguya didn't listen, she just kept on walking, as Kimura followed behind her. As Kaguya went to a secluded part of the forest, as there was many trees around, she then turned back and looked at the woman. "I suggest you stand back." As Kimura nodded as she slowly stepped back, Kaguya then snapped her eyes open as veins came on the side of her face. All the trees around were blown away, ripped out from the ground, as Kimura dropped on the ground in shock as she couldn't believe what she just saw. What was that?" she asked. But Kaguya didn't answer as she placed her hand on the ground. Suddenly the ground started to shake as it cracked open, as it formed a circular shape, as Kaguya kept on releasing power from her hand that just went down into the ground. "What is going on?" Kimura asked as she didn't understand what is going on. But Kaguya didn't answer, as she was just holding on to the cube and doing the rest with her other hand. Once she was done, she got up, as the earth shifted a bit and created that stairway. As Kaguya walked down there, Kimura stopped at the entrance as she hesitated for a few seconds, but she followed behind her. When she got down there, she was shocked, as inside there was spacious and a good roomy area. As Kimura didn't understand how did this happen, she said, looking around. "I created this place a few seconds ago." "Created? How are you doing these things? Do you have magic or something?" "Magic," Kaguya said. "Yeah, you know, like those strange acting performance." "This is no act," Kaguya said. "Stand back." As Kimura did as he was instructed. As Kimura watched Kaguya place the cube down, as she then smiled, as a small tear slipped from Kaguya's eyes, but Kimura didn't say anything, as Kaguya then stepped back. She then raised her hand up, as a small white glow came from her arm. It then extended out in a barrier, as it sealed off the front part. She then went back up the stairs. "Hey, are you leaving that cube behind?" "Yes," Kaguya said as she walked out, as Kimura followed behind her. Kaguya then placed her hand on the ground gently. "It is not your time yet," she said. "I can't allow them to find you. For now, just rest. We will meet again," she said. As the earth shifted and covered up where the cube was, as it was like it wasn't even there. As Kimura looked at Kaguya as she started to walk off. What did you just do?" she asked. "It is for his own safety," said Kaguya. "My child will live on, and he will not get his hands on him." "Your child? That baby is alive?" "Yes, he is." "Well, why do you keep him locked in a cube?" Kaguya then turned to the woman. "His power is too uncontrollable. For right now, they will sense him if it is released, so I have to keep him locked away until the time is ready. After the centuries, his power will quell, to reach to a point where he can control it, without it being wild and uncontrollable. That is when I will come for him, and get him out of there, but for now he will just rest." "Wait, centuries? What are you talking about?" said Kimura. "That is none of your concern for right now." As Kaguya then looked around, "I shall make a home out of this place," she said. The time went by rather quickly, as Kaguya met a human man, which was from one of the tribes, which she fell in love with, and they bear 2 other childs, Haguromo and Hamura Otsutsuki. As Kaguya still think about her little baby boy, she wanted to release him every day, but she knows his power is too great, and if she does, they will instantly find him. His power will radiate through the universe. It will take some centuries, but it will quell. As time went on, as Kaguya did the ritual of the tree just in case they came, as she started to turn people, trying to turn them into white Zetsus, when Haguromo realized what she was doing. And that is when the battle started, and for centuries that baby lay underground, frozen in that makeshift crystal, as he was unable to age. He just remained there frozen, still as a young baby. As the battle went on for 40 days and 40 nights between Haguromo, Hamura, and Kaguya. After the battle ended, Kaguya could only release a tear as she realized she won't be able to see her baby boy, as she was sealed into the moon. The time went by rather quickly, as Haguromo spread chakra around and teach people to use it. As time went by and time started to pass, until it reached down into the ages. Hoshirama and Madara Senju face off against the Valley of the End, and that was created. And their two statues reign supreme there. As Konoha, the village, strive, all the other villages in the nation, the tailed beasts roam around until Hoshirama decides to capture them. And to balance out power, he distributes each of them to a nation, keeping the strongest one here in Konoha, as him and his wife Mito. His wife Mito becoming the first, Jinjuriki, as it then passed down, until Mito's body was getting too old. It was time for her to pass it on, as it was transferred into Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina coming to the leaf met Minato Namikaze, who saved her from Cloud Ninjas, and then their relationship built. The both of them got to know each other until they became a couple, as Minato was handed the reign of Hokage. As we finally escape to the current time, Kushina Uzumaki, as she was in her house. Minato was late again as he was at work. Being the Hokage of the village is surely a stressful thing, so she knew her husband will be late some days, so she didn't fault him at that. He was the protector of the entire village. As Kushina was preparing dinner, she heard something creaking, as she wondered what could that be. As she went downstairs towards the basement. Arriving at the basement, she looked around, but she didn't hear it anymore. She then noticed part of the basement ground was grass, beautiful green luscious grass. As Kushina was confused as hell, how could there be grass down here? This was a wooden floor. As she tapped her foot on it, yes, it was grass, luscious green grass. As she tapped her foot on it once more, but the last tap, something strange happened. She felt her chakra being sucked out of her body. Meanwhile, in the seal, Kurama snapped open his eyes, as something was wrong. As his chakra was starting to be sucked out, it wasn't going into the Kushina woman, it was something strange. As Kurama was growling furiously, as he couldn't stop this. What is going on, he growled. As he didn't understand, his chakra was being sucked out. As he quickly felt it then stop. He looked around strangely, wondering what that was. For a moment there, he thought he sensed the presence of the old man. But that can't be, the old man died years ago. Back with Kushina, she collapsed down as she wondered what the hell just happened. As it didn't take a lot, but her chakra was sucked out. Meanwhile, underground, Kushina along with Kurama's chakra went down, as it went down straight into the ground. This was the same place they were living exactly where Kaguya had placed a child many centuries ago. The child was still in the crystal until the chakra of Kurama and Kushina started to merge together and came down in the crystal. The moment their chakra made contact, it went down, fusing into the crystal. The baby had short white hair. When the chakra made contact, the baby hair changed from white to red. Its pupilless eyes got pupils in them, but they were sharp, just like the fox, but not that sharp, as it had a round feature to it. As the baby slowly opened his eyes to reveal golden eyes, the moment he did that, the crystal started to crack. Meanwhile with Kushina, she felt the ground start to shake. What is going on? Meanwhile with Minato, he was at his desk, going through some paperwork, as the entire office started to shake. People of Konoha was wondering what was going on. Was it an earthquake? As the entire village was shaking violently, until Minato's eyes went wide, as a bright light illuminated the entire Konoha. As an envoy flashed beside him. "Sir, it's your house," the envoy said. As Minato quickly looked through the window and saw the direction where the illuminated light was coming from. In a blink of an eye, Minato flashed away as he arrived at the residence of his house, his envoys quickly trailing behind him. Minato rushed inside to see a glowing light surrounding the entire house and just going up into the sky. But it didn't went that far before it just dissipated. As Minato rushed inside, the house was perfectly fine. This was not something to harm it, it was just light. Bursting inside, he screamed out Kushina's name, calling out for her, but there was no answer. As he rushed inside the envoys, he told him to scour the entire place. They did as they were instructed, as Minato was called by one of the envoys. Minato rushed to the basement where he saw Kushina on the ground. As he came to a surprising shock when he saw a baby beside her. The envoy checked her pulse and told him that she was fine. she was just unconscious. As Minato wondered, whose baby is this? As he saw the ground had cracked open, and there was a residue of a strange crystal-like substance there. Minato then stepped forward, as Kushina started came too. Minato, she said as she slowly opened her eyes. Kushina, he said. What happened? Before she could say anything, the baby started to cry. As Kushina turned and looked at the baby, time skip. An hour later, he seemed perfectly fine, said Tsunade. As she was examining the baby had stopped crying, as he was just looking at all of them strangely. Jiraiya walked over. So you're telling me that you found him, just like that? It was strange, Kushina said. 1 minute, I was there and then my chakra started to be sucked out. And then the ground just cracked open. And then the baby emerged in a strange crystal. But the crystal shattered once. He reached fresh air, and that strange light came out. And then, I remember you, dear Minato. Well, this is certainly strange, said Shikaku, as he was there as well, along with Hayashi, and Shibe, Choza, and Inoichi. And I did not get anything at all, said Inoichi, as he went inside of the baby's head. But nothing, he didn't get any memories or anything. It was a newborn baby, not yet even witnessed in the world. As Minato scratched the back of his head as he did not understand. But how is that even possible? Said Sarutobi, as he stepped forward. For a baby to be under there, frozen like that, I don't believe that he would survive. Yes, this is truly strange, said Shikaku. First time ever hearing or seeing something like this. As all of them were looking down at him, he looked back at them, not even blinking. As the only time she heard him cry was when she just wake up, but other than that, he's been completely silent. He was just looking at them with a thoughtful look on his face, like he was actually thinking. But when Inoichi tried to go into his mind, he didn't get anything. Tsunade's hand started to glow again. I'll do the chakra test, she said, as she ran her hand over him. Tsunade's eyes then went wide. What's wrong? Asked Kushina. What is this? She said, as she looked at the baby strangely. What is it? Minato said. It's chakra, it's strange. It seems balanced. What do you mean? Said Jiraiya. You know how when an infant is born, their chakra is unstable and small inside of them, and they have to grow up to learn how to control it. Yes? Well, this baby chakra is certainly balanced. It's just like it's already perfect. For someone is not even look like he's 1 year old yet. This is rather strange, she said. This is the first I've ever seen of anything like this. And this is nowhere near on a level for a baby. He's actually somewhere near high tuning level already at this age. And he doesn't even look 1 year old yet, said Tsunade. As Minato had a thoughtful look on his face, as he still couldn't explain this. Who is or what is this baby? What are we going to do? Asked Shikaku, as the group turned towards Minato, as they had no idea what to do. Well, he is fine, asked Minato as he looked at Tsunade. Yes, in health he's perfectly fine. Well then, we'll take him, said Kushina, as everyone turned towards her. What? Said Minato. Well, it's not like we aren't the best to take him right now. You are the Hokage, remember? You're the one who's actually dealing with this, and I'm the one that find him, so why would I give him up to anyone else? As the group looked at her and looked at everyone else, as Minato just sighed. Well, if there isn't any objection to this, I guess we can take him in. As no one said anything because, frankly, none of them knew what to do, as they were just shocked by this. Tsunade was shocked the most because, for a baby, his chakra is already tuning level, and strangely enough, it was growing slightly, as that was rather strange. For now they will just have to keep an eye on him. Later that night, Kushina brought the baby home, as he still hadn't cried, as Minato had came home with her, done with all of his duties. So, as the both of them were in bed, the baby was just sitting in the center. Kushina reached forward, as she tickled his nose. He looked at her, as he looked at the arm, and he still didn't show a reaction towards it. He doesn't seem to like to play, she said. Maybe, as she reached out and started to tickle his side, and tickle under his chin, until an amused look came on his face, as he started to giggle a bit. as she chuckled back. Now that's what I'm talking about, she said. As Minato smiled seeing that. Hey, what should we name him? We don't know his name, said Kushina. Yeah, you're right. But what would you like to name him, he asked. Well, I had a name. If we were going to have a child, I would have called him Naruto. That sounds good enough. Naruto, said Minato. Kushina then got out of bed as she rushed to the bathroom. As Minato heard her throwing up. You okay? He asked. As she came back in the room after washing out her mouth. I've been throwing up lately, she said. As she then gained a thoughtful look on her face. I'm gonna let Tsunade check me over tomorrow, she said. Time skip. The next morning, it was now night time as Minato just got home. As he saw Kushina at the table, with dinner already prepared. As steam was coming from it, it was well hot. It was like she was preparing for him to come here. As she had the little baby Naruto in her arms, she was just walking with him. Tsunade had continued her checkup on the boy, and he seems fine. Minato also had a council meeting about him, and the best option right now is to keep him in their security, seeing that no one knows anything about the baby. The strange thing was, he was there before any of them even lived there. Because of the structure of the place, you can see that he was long there before that, and the strange thing is none of them can identify the crystal. As Minato smiled seeing his beautiful wife, she rushed up to him and kissed him. Guess what, she said, as she had a smile on her face. Huh? Guess. Well, you told me you were gonna have a checkup by Tsunade today. Yes, and it's some good news. Good news, he said. As she couldn't hold it any longer. I'm pregnant, she said as she jumped on him. As Minato smiled happily as he hugged his wife tight. This newborn baby, Naruto, he was going to take him in as his own son, seeing that Kushina loved the baby so much. But to hear that she was pregnant with his own child, that made him even more happy. And that Naruto was going to have a little brother or sister, as the both of them hug each other and hold each other in their arms tight that night. The time went by pretty quickly, as baby Naruto just seemed to be getting aware of things even more. He's not talking, but the way he's acting, it seems like he understands things. But Kushina still loved her new baby boy, and she was going to have another baby. So Naruto will have someone there to protect him and be there for him. After a couple of months, she found out the baby's gender. The baby was going to be a girl. That made her super excited, as Naruto was going to have a little sister. She already have a name to honor her previous ancestor. She was going to call her Mito. Yes, Mito Uzumaki. That was a wonderful name and Minato was happy with that as well. The time finally came for Kushina to give birth, as Naruto was under the security of one of the female envoys that Kushina left him with to be okay. As Sarutobi's wife and also another, Kushina and Minato were there. None of the Sanis were in the village, as Tsunade and Jiraiya weren't here. Minato had to be with his wife to make sure the sealing process remained perfectly fine during the unsealing, seeing that at childbirth, he get weakened. But terrible thing happened. This strange masked man appeared out of nowhere and attacked them, and he took Kushina. After baby Mito was born, he then released the 9 tails upon the village, but Minato got his wife in safety already, as Minato only saw one way of stopping the beast. Naruto was safe, as the caretaker brought him somewhere. Because the village was currently under attack, Sarutobi and the others are trying their best to fight off the 9-tailed fox, and Minato know there is only one way. His wife was a Uzumaki. She could live through the unsealing of the 9 tails, but he will surely die after using this seal to place half of the fox inside of Mito and half inside of himself. He has to do this for the village, but his wife will be there to raise both Mito and Naruto to make sure that they will be okay. But things went terribly wrong after sealing the fox inside of himself. The 9-tailed fox didn't want to go back into that stupid baby. He tried to kill the baby, Mito, but Kushina and Minato jumped in the way, as his finger, nail, drive right through the both of them. As Minato could only watch as something that broke his heart. His 2 kids are going to be alone, but they will have each other, but they won't have the parent supervision. As the barrier faded, Sarutobi arrived as he was holding baby Naruto in his arms. After seeing the whole ordeal happen, he bring Naruto here to make them say their goodbyes. As Minato only saw a glance of his son before he died because of the Reaper taking his soul. As Kushina was still alive though, her life force was slowly fading. Her name is Mito Uzumaki. Take care of her. Take care of the both of them, okay? She said to Sarutobi. Sarutobi gave her a faint smile at what he said, as he was terribly sad to watch the both of them just get ripped away from their two babies like this. She then looked down. Naruto, you have to be there for your sister. Make sure you take care of her. Don't let any harm come her way. Naruto was currently sleeping as everything was going on, as him and his baby sister Mito was currently sleeping now, not understanding anything that was happening. As Kushina could only smile at them for the last time, as all the light faded from her eyes. As Sarutobi released a few tears as he watched her collapse dead. A mourning session went on for the village as they lost one of their greatest heroes. Two proud people fight for the village, risking their life. As Minato wanted the people to see Mito as a hero for holding back the fox and not a monster. Time skip. 6 years later. Slowly, two pair of golden eyes open up. As he was looking at the ceiling, he was lying down on his bed, his bright red hair sprawled all over. As he pulled himself up, he then heard footsteps as his door was swing open. The moment his door swung open, someone launched onto him as he was tackled back down to his bed. As Naruto could only smile as he looked down at his sister, as her beautiful long red hair and her beautiful blue eyes. She smiled at him. "You're awake, big brother," she said. "Huh, Mito, what's a rush?" "Oh, no rush. Remember, we're going to the park today. I just want to get there early so we can start the fun quickly." Naruto chuckled. "It doesn't matter what time we get there," he said. "We're going to have fun." "I suppose you're right," she said. "But come on, get ready. We need to get going." "What time is it?" Naruto asked. "Oh, it's 8 in the morning." "Mito, the time is still too early," he said. "I know, but we're gonna have to take a shower and then have breakfast. By the time we're finished, we can head out." As Naruto ruffled her hair, as she pouted, "Don't worry, we will get there," he said. "Alright, fine," she said, as she got up and ran out of his room. As Naruto could only just watch her and smile. As Naruto has learned a lot of things growing up, he does not know the identity of his mother and father, seeing that the old man will not tell him. But he doesn't know why, but he has a strange recollection of these two people, one with a blonde hair and the other one with red hair. It was not Mito, it was an older woman. She was always smiling down at him, but it was strange, he couldn't make out their face completely. The old man had told him that his mother and father died in protecting the village against a nine-tailed beast, a entity of great power that was shaped like a fox with 9 furious tails that attacked the village October 10th on Mito's birthday. But from what he read and from what he heard, tailed beasts cannot be killed. They're made out of chakra. Even the old man said that himself. So Naruto quickly came to the conclusion that it was sealed inside of Mito. The old man was shocked to hear that day. Flashback. It was a couple months earlier, as Sarutobi entered the house, the 2-bedroom house, as he saw Naruto sitting right there, like he was waiting for him. "Ah, Naruto." As Sarutobi had 2 envelopes in his hand, as he was going to give them their monthly money. As Naruto had an angry look on his face though. "Naruto, what happened?" Sarutobi asked. Because he knew that the people in the village, despite his law to not talk about the fox, they still glare at Mito, and any shops they try to overprice her and treat her differently from the others. And that led to Naruto fighting a lot of kids, because their parents told them to stay away from Mito, and anytime they would say harsh things about her, the kids, Naruto would end up beating them up. Naruto looked at Sarutobi sternly. "Old man, what are you not telling me?" he said. "Huh?" said Sarutobi. "There's something strange going on. From what you have told me in the past, The tail beasts cannot be destroyed. When have I told you that? Sarutobi asks. You told me that they are made from chakra. So what got you to that conclusion? Sarutobi asks. I'm not a fool, Naruto said. Chakra. This thing we call chakra. It can flicker in and flicker out. How can something be made from pure chakra die from human hands? And the strange way people look at Mito. And the way they treat her for no reason. No matter how many times I ask you won't tell me. It's because of that, isn't it? She has something to do with Nine Tails. Sarutobi sighed as he dreaded this day. Naruto, come here, he said. As Naruto just came beside him and have a seat. You see, you're right. Tail beasts cannot be killed. They have to be sealed. The moment Sarutobi said that, Naruto's eyes went wide. Don't tell me that beast is my sister. That beast that killed my mother and father, he said. Yes, it is. Mito has nothing to do with this. She is not the cause of anything, said Sarutobi. I don't want you to treat her as Naruto scoffed. Why would I treat my sister any differently? Just because that beast inside of her doesn't make her a different person. And she's my sister after all. I get it now. That is why the people look at her with so much hate. It's because of what the people saw the tail beast did to this village. They think Mito is responsible. But she's not, Naruto said. I know she's not, Sarutobi said. Mito is her own person. Then, the fourth Hokage did this, Naruto said. He was the one that sealed away the fox inside of her. Because in all of the records it showed that the fourth Hokage fought and killed the Kyuubi with sacrificing his life. And if you're saying that the Kyuubi cannot be killed, that means he sealed it in Mito. Why would he do that, Naruto said as he clenched his fists. Sarutobi had to take a step back as the pressure in the room got thick and tense. As he quickly moved up to Naruto and placed an arm on Naruto's shoulder. Calm down, Naruto, he said. Naruto took a deep breath in and out as he relaxed himself. As Sarutobi just looked at Naruto, there has been something and always been something special about Naruto. He didn't even tell him that he was adopted by his own parents. Well, he couldn't tell him that because he had to release the identity of who Naruto's parents were. And he didn't want Naruto or Mito to be a target. And it's gonna be incredibly hard to figure out, seeing that the both of them had red hair. And Naruto had golden eyes, but Mito had her father blue eyes though. But that wouldn't be so easy to find out. So Sarutobi was happy for that. But it was with Naruto chakra. When they maintained it as a kid, it was roughly around the size of a high chonin. But now it was the size of a high jonin. And just seemed to keep on growing. But Naruto doesn't have any arts in the training yet. He hasn't been training to become a shinobi. But once he does, the boy is going to certainly become something incredible because of this high chakra. And he seems to just be growing and growing. If Sarutobi believes that he keep on growing this way, he will one day surpass even a Biju in power. And that frightens Sarutobi for someone to have so much power. Because Naruto loves his sister. And when the people in the village glare at her or try to overcharge her for things, he gets angry. He's easy to get pissed off. And he always releases that pressure that sent everything flying away from him. For now, Sarutobi just wants to make sure that Naruto is keeping calm. And he just keep a close eye on him every time. Just to make sure the boy is calm and safe. Because there will be no telling what will happen if Naruto lost control. And it was quite scary for him to be worrying about a little boy like this. But yes, he was that powerful. As Sarutobi released his hand from Naruto's shoulder, you have to listen to me. The Hokage did what he believed was best by sealing the demon inside of Mito. They kept it from destroying the village and ending more lives. He knew that if it continued on its rampage, more people would die. But why do they treat her that way? Why do they look at her like that, Naruto said. Before he could raise his voice anymore, he calmed himself, as he shouldn't get pissed at the old man. It's not his fault. If Mito is holding back the fox, why do they treat her that way, Naruto asks. Naruto people don't understand things, and that made them fear things. You just have to buy time with them. Surely soon enough they will come to understand that Mito is not the fox, and see her for what she truly is. A nice, gentle girl. Naruto sighed. You're right, he said. But we can't tell my sister about this. Huh? Said Sarutobi. I thought you would have wanted to tell her about this. No, Naruto said. I don't want her to stress anymore. She doesn't understand why the people look at her that way. And the way they look at me as well, for being her brother. But it doesn't matter what any of them think, because no matter what, I'll always be there for her, and I'll always protect her, Naruto said. For now, we just have to keep her safe. I don't want anything hurting her, Naruto said. As Sarutobi just nodded. Back to the present time, Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts when Mito knocked him on the head. Come on, get ready, she said. Alright, fine, Naruto said. Time skip. 2 months later, Naruto was sitting down with Sarutobi, as the both of them were in his office. Sarutobi had a shogi on his table, as both him and Naruto was playing. For his age, Naruto was quite intelligent and able to see strategies that most people couldn't see. The boy's eyes were incredibly fast, and that was something that made Sarutobi respect him even more. Say, Gigi, when are we going to start my training, Naruto said. Huh? Sarutobi said. Well, I've read something about the normal capacity of someone that has chakra inside of them. But it's different for me. You always told me that I was special. And I understand what you mean now by fully, Naruto said. What do you mean, said Sarutobi. I mean this, Naruto said, as he removed his hand from the board and held up his hand. Suddenly, chakra started to spread across his arm as it was showing outwards, as it was releasing a violent action, as everything in the office started to blow, as Naruto then stopped it. You see, said Naruto, normal people my age cannot do that. Even the kids in the academy doesn't even learn how to control their chakra yet. But it seems natural for me. Why is that, Naruto said. That is what I meant by you were special, Naruto. You have a higher chakra reserves than any of the kids in the academy. And the strange thing is, you have good control over it. So that would be good when we start my training, Naruto said. I'm just a few months older than Mito. I'm going to be starting the academy soon. But you're the Hokage. You can do things that other people can't do. Oh, and what do you mean by that, Sarutobi said. Well, for instance, if Mito is still a couple months younger and she's not ready to go in the academy yet, you can pull a few strings to get her in there. And why would I do that, Sarutobi said. Well, for one thing, I will be in the academy, and I want her there, so you can do that. And if you don't, perhaps all of those books that you read will one day go missing. As Sarutobi's face turned pale. What are you talking about, he asked. Oh, you know, those books that I catch you reading sometime and you hide them as fast as possible. You saw that, Sarutobi said. Yeah, I did. What was it? The Ichi Ichi Paradise Volume 1? Or suppose I can tell some people in the village that you read them. Or even get a photo of you reading it. You know, I can be there when you're at your house. I can be there when you're watching TV. I can be there in your main studies, Naruto said, as he was not looking at Sarutobi. As Sarutobi narrowed his eyes at the boy. Are you trying to blackmail me, Sarutobi asked. Who knows, Naruto said. So, is Mito gonna come in the academy with me? Sarutobi sighed. I guess I can do that, he said. Well then, your books will be perfectly fine. You know, for a child, you're quite misleading and very secretive and scary, Sarutobi said. I don't know what you're talking about, Naruto said. Some time passed after that, as Naruto and Mito got into the academy, as the both of them were in the same class, and Naruto was happy for that, and so was Mito. As it was currently night time, both Mito and Naruto were at the Uchiha compound, eating dinner with the Uchihas, as Naruto's mother Kushina was Mikato's friend, even though she didn't tell Mito or Naruto that she knew their mother. She wanted to keep a close eye on them and make sure that they were safe, so she would regularly invite them over to eat dinner. And with Sasuke and Itachi there, they wouldn't have a problem or anything like that. And Fukaku was there sometime, but tonight Fukaku was not there, as all of them were sitting around the table eating. So, you're going to go to the academy, said Itachi as he looked at Naruto. As Naruto nodded, me and Mito, he said. What about you, Sasuke, are you going? Sasuke narrowed his eyes at Naruto, as he then spoke. Yes, I'll be attending the academy Monday, he said. As Sasuke didn't like how close Naruto was to his family, especially his big brother, as Itachi would take Naruto some time and show him basic things and also train him, things that he really did with him, and that made Sasuke jealous. Yes, he was incredibly jealous, but Naruto paid it no mind, as he just continued to eat his dinner. When we start the academy, we're gonna train and become incredibly strong and become the bestest ninja in Konoha and all through the elemental nation, said Mito, as Kushina chuckled and placed a hand on Mito's head and ruffled her hair. I bet you are, she said. And one day, even becoming Hokage. Yeah, you know, that's my dream, Mito said, with a big smile on her face. I will become Hokage and change this entire nation and bring peace to the entire world. Itachi looked over at her. Quite a big dream, he said. Yeah, that's my dream, alright. Change this entire world and also make the people of Konoha see me for who I am. Mito Uzumaki, the Hokage. As Itachi couldn't help but smile at that. This girl truly has a warmth about her, as she had that light in her that made everyone around her just happy. But for Naruto it was something different. Naruto, he was calm and collective, and he was rather smart for someone his age. That is why Itachi has been taking him and showing him a few things here and there. And the crazy thing about it, everything that Itachi showed him, even though Itachi hasn't tested his affinity yet, the first thing Itachi showed him was a fire style jutsu, which Naruto learned it in one shot. And the crazy thing about that, Naruto Fireball was intense. The thing covered up the entire river. As the both of them were by the Naka River training, as Itachi could remember it like yesterday. Flashback, a few months ago. So what are you going to teach me, Naruto asked. The fire style jutsu, Itachi said. Let's see if you can get it under one try. Sarutobi told me that you have a quite large amount of chakra. Incredible for someone your age. Yeah, I've been told that, Naruto said. So what are the hand signs, he asked, as Itachi went through hand signs showing Naruto. As Naruto followed them, as Naruto took in a deep breath, as Itachi's eyes went wide, breaking his calm facade, as he released a massive fireball that covered the entire Naka River before vanishing. Itachi could only stare at Naruto in shock, as he couldn't believe what he just witnessed. How did you do that? Huh? I did what you told me, Naruto said. Wasn't that good? That was incredible, Itachi said. But a fireball at that capacity, that was truly something incredible, Naruto. I can understand what Sarutobi is talking about now. I'm gonna need to get stronger if I'm gonna protect Mito, Naruto said. So it doesn't matter which obstacle coming my way, I will knock them down. End of the flashback. Suddenly, Fukaku came in. He greeted them as he then turned to Itachi. We need to talk, he said. As Itachi said his goodbyes as he got up and headed off. What was that about, Naruto asked after they left. Huh? My father just asked for my brother, Sasuke said. What are you talking about? It seems strange to me, Naruto said. What do you mean by that? Asked Mikato. Never mind, Naruto said as he continued to eat. After they were finished, Mikato allowed Naruto and Mito to stay in the guest room to sleep here for the night, something that they usually do, as the both of them were in their futons lying down. Hey Naruto. What is it? Said Naruto. Do you really think I'm capable of becoming Hokage? Of course you can, Naruto said. You're the best person I know to become Hokage. Really? She said. Yeah, you're strong, courageous, and you never give up. That is the traits of becoming Hokage. As Mito smiled at that. Thank you, she said. Thanks for always being there and believing in me. You're my sister, I have to, Naruto said. As Mito just smiled at that. Well, I'm gonna sleep now. Tomorrow then. Yeah, have yourself a good sleep, Naruto said. As Mito went to sleep, as Naruto was thinking, as he needs to begin to train Mito on light things. She wanted to become Hokage, she strived to become something better. So he needed to start to train her on light things, like hand-to-hand combat, in case she's in trouble and he's not there. But, to him, he will always be there for her. But for right now, he needs to get her stronger as well. But guys, let me end this episode right here. If you want to see the next part of this, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn that bell notifications they posted. And remember, if you enjoy this, guys, just go ahead and comment down below and tell me that you want part 2. Yeah, guys, just tell me that you want part 2, guys. And remember to get this one to 400 likes if you enjoyed. But for now, I'm out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.